Okay, so I'm going to be talking about how to cut fleece into Fl'arn, which is the fleece yarn that I use to crochet my projects. So what we're going to need is the correct amount of fleece. I've got about 1.5 yards here. We're going to need a 36 by 24 inch cutting mat. That's my preferred size. If you have bigger, that's better. Also a 24 inch, you want it to match the length of your cutting mat, or the width of your cutting mat, sorry. But this is just a straight edge. Mine's clear, so it's kind of hard to see, but there's my straight edge. I also have a 60 millimeter cutting blade, and you want a bag to put it in because you don't want to ball your fabric yarn into a tight ball. It's harder to crochet that way. Okay, so put all this aside. First, you want to start off by identifying this edge here. So this edge is going to be your salvage edge, okay? And this is on both sides. Mine is doubled over twice, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 layers of fleece. Okay, I have 4 layers of fleece. So I'm going to take it and cut off that salvage edge. I'm sorry about my lighting. My lighting is terrible in this room, and it's a really dark day. I haven't had any light for it. So I cut off that salvage edge, and now what I'm left with is my piece of fleece without that salvage edge. Now you're going to notice that your fleece between the salvage edges, this way it's going to stretch. This way it does not stretch as much, okay? You want to take it, and we're going to cut against, we're going to cut with the stretch, okay? So your stretch and your lines are going to be going in the same direction. Now, this is how I fold mine. You're going to want to clear off your table, except for your cutting mat, and take it and flatten out your piece of fleece really well. It's really weird, I know. So we're going to, let me just keep knocking the camera around too. So we're going to take that and we're going to flatten it out as best we can. Get it about to the edge of your cutting mat. When you see the edge of your cutting mat, stop. Okay? And then you're going to fold it back. Hopefully you can see this. Fold it back the other way like an accordion, and then just come back this way. So you can see you have 3 layers in the middle and then 1 layer on each side. Okay? Okay. So I scooted it down this way so that this edge is on the mat. Now we're going to take that edge and we're just going to work that right off, okay? So that's completely off. We're going to throw that away. Lots of moving in this video. Sorry about the audio. So we're going to take this and we're going to go about 1 inch in. It can be a little bit more than 1 inch. I like a little bit more than 1 inch, so maybe 1.25 inches. And we're going to cut from 1 inch at the bottom all the way to the top. The next cut is going to be all the way at the bottom to the top, 1 inch from the top, okay? So we're going to keep going back and forth like this. 1 inch from the bottom, all the way to the top, all the way at the bottom, 1 inch from the top. So we are leaving that little bit uncut each cut. So all the way to the top, from the bottom to 1 inch from the top. 1 inch from the bottom, all the way to the top. From the bottom, 1 inch away from the top. Okay, so we're leaving that gap at the bottom. Leaving the gap at the top. Leaving the gap at the bottom. Leaving the gap at the top. And after you get in a rhythm, it goes by pretty fast. I think you're just seeing my shoulder at this point. Sorry about that. And you can see that my cuts are not perfect. So, I've got like an inch here, and then the next one over is like an inch and a half. And it doesn't have to be perfect. This isn't an exact thing that I do. It all pretty much works up the same. Okay, so we have worked the entire length of this up. Okay, so let me see. The top here, you can see that these are squares. Okay, and this is the part that you'll round off whenever you're crocheting this up. So you can see this one is separated, this one is separated, this one is separated. But down here, it's exactly the opposite. Okay, so we have little blocks the whole way across. Now what we're going to do is take our bag, and then we're going to come one away from the edge and just scoop them up. And you want the starting end, the one that you cut first, to go into the bag first. Okay, so that's at the bottom of your bag. And you can kind of see, I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can kind of see that my yarn is ready to go and it's all loose. But I still have about, 3/4 of a yard to cut. So I'm going to take that and lay it out nice and neat. And I'm not worried about that edge. I'm going to cut that edge off anyway as I work. So it's not a big deal to me. So we're going to go, you see at the bottom here, you can kind of see where you stopped. So this came down to, that's that gap at the bottom, okay? So we didn't cut that last inch. So we're going to start from the bottom. That's going to indicate we're going to cut all the way from the bottom to an inch at the top. So that way you know what direction you're going. All the way to the bottom, an inch from the top. An inch from the bottom, all the way to the top. All the way from the bottom to an inch at the top. An inch from the bottom, all the way to the top. And just keep alternating until you're to the end of your fleece. And you're going to get these ooky little things that come up every once in a while. They're just pieces of fuzz. They land everywhere. Fleece is a weird animal. Okay, so you can see we don't quite have, I have about one at the end here we can cut. So we've got one here, but we need to cut that end off because it's too big. So we'll cut that end off and throw it away. And then we're going to check and make sure that that's about consistent, and it is. All right. Take this back out, scrunch it back up, and stuff it in the bag.